Let's go. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do, thanks for letting me know. So we're going to go up to the top. We're going to go Setup, Edit, Defaults, and then Tables over here, and then navigate to the equipment. All right, and this is going to be a complete list of every piece of equipment that you have in your system. So if we wanted to add another one, let's say that we wanted to add another, I don't know, maybe like a pickup truck. Like another crew truck. So we could hit the plus button here. And then if you already know what your group is going to be, you could type it in. So I know what the group's going to be, but just to show you, if you don't know, you can hit this magnifying glass right here. All right, and then navigate through depending on what you want. If you wanted it to be an air compressor, you could click that, or you just navigate through, or you can scroll. And then I'm going to go to truck pickup and select. And then I will just call it Crew Truck 2. Okay. And then all you have to do is hit enter. Now, there's some more information that you can put in here just on the top level. So you can add a labor to it. So much like in the last webinar, we spoke about being able to assign equipment to the labor if you wanted to. So if you have a specific operator that needs a specific equipment, you could assign that. And then transversely over here, if you have a piece of equipment that needs a specific labor guy, or you want an operator assigned to each of your rollers, or something like that, you could put an operator in here. So we just have a labor guy with our crew trucks. And then it's going to ask the fuel usage. Now, this is the default um, fuel usage for this truck. So it's going to ask how many gallons of fuel is it using per hour. So the other crew truck is 2, so we'll just say 2 for this one as well. And then the next area is going to be what fuel is it going to be using. I will just say it is D for diesel. And if you don't know, you could just click in there and hit the magnifying glass, and it'll open up your um, gas and oil area. All right, so the next step would be assigning hourly cost to this. All right, and hourly cost for these are actually broke down in a few different ways. So let me go ahead and expand everything here. All right, so to break down this window, this is the equipment rate by area window. Really, equipment areas are just how many different possible rates would you need for one specific piece of equipment. So this crew truck 2, we could have it, in this, for instance, we could have it rental by the day, rental by the week, rental by the month. If we just have a bid rate, or if we have a DOT rate that we need to charge for this piece of equipment, those are our different areas. But if we only have one rate, maybe we charge, $20 an hour, typically for just this piece of equipment. We would hit enter there. And then it breaks down the fuel usage. So our total hourly cost here gets broken down from 3 areas. So it's going to be our hourly rate, our fuel cost, and then our burdens down here at the bottom. So these are just our standard burdens for this pickup. We're not going to have bucket teeth or anything like that on a pickup. But if you wanted to charge for insurance, you could come down here, left click it one time, and then say maybe $1.50 or something for insurance. Maybe repairs are maybe like 50 cents. Tires maybe $1. And then that's going to come out to be $3 extra an hour in burden. So it would be the $20 here plus the $12 in the fuel, broken down by we're saying that we're paying $6 a gallon for diesel and that it uses 2 gallons of diesel per hour. Comes out to be the base rate of $35 even. So that's what would show up in your hourly cost inside your job would be that $35. Okay. So that's pretty much how to create, a piece of equipment inside your table and apply a rate to it. All right. Next would be to create one inside of a job, kind of on the fly. So I'm going to actually delete crew truck 2 so we can create it again. So we're going to go to our bid items and then go into any specific bid item. And then if I wanted to create a crew truck 2 in here, I can do the plus button inside the detail window. Then I know that I can hit E for equipment here, and that's going to make it highlight as a piece of equipment. But if you don't know, you can hit this down bar here and then pick that you want it to be a piece of equipment. Okay. I'm going to just hit escape and then go back up to here. Then it's going to ask me for a code. So typically you can actually type in a code of an already existing piece of equipment and it would assign it to this job, much like clicking and dragging it if you click the equipment window here. But if we want to put something in there that doesn't exist, we can do that as well. So I wanted it to be CT2. Oh, sorry. Down here. CT2. Crew truck 2. I changed my man hours, so now everything's all wonky, but that's fine. So it says the equipment code that you entered does not exist. So I can either select from my existing list of equipment or insert. I know that it doesn't exist because we're creating it. So we're going to hit insert here. And it's going to once again ask for the group. So if you don't know, you can go find it by hitting the magnifying glass, hit select, and then I know I want it to be called crew truck 2. And then this is where you can assign it to a labor. So this is going to be code only. If you don't know the code, you can just click the magnifying glass and go find which group that they're in. So if you wanted like an operator, for instance, you could go operator group and then grab the operator, but we're not going to do that. And this is where you can actually put your fuel and oil in as well. So we're going to say our fuel is going to be diesel. Our fuel usage per hour is going to be 2. And then you can put oil if you want to, but you don't have to. And then we would go to cost details, and this takes us to the same screen that we saw before. For the crew truck 2, we would just go down to our bid area, hit $20. And then you could go back through and then adjust your burdens as it was. But I can just leave those alone for now. You can say, yes, it's owned right over here. You can change it by double clicking and turning to yes. Or if it's not owned, you could put a vendor attached to it to keep track of that. But after that, you can just close this up and then hit OK. And it's going to ask which, because I'm bringing it in with a labor guy, which do I want? I'll just do, what's the rest of these? I'll just do private rate. And it'll bring in the crew truck with the labor guy into your bid items. Okay, I will pause there for about 20-30 seconds just to see if you guys have any questions on that using our Q&A function. Go ahead and send those in. Alrighty, I don't think that I saw any come in. I'll go ahead and move on to the next area. So one thing that might come up, if you just, let's say, purchase a piece of equipment and you don't know exactly how much you want to charge for it, we do have something called the equipment rate calculator. So you can go, sorry, that's going to be inside that. We need to go into the table window here. So let's go to crew truck 2. And we should be able to go to, yeah, in here. So if you double click on any of the rates, it will bring up a equipment rate calculation sheet here. So what you can do is put, the list price. Let's say I bought, I don't know, a really expensive truck. Let's call it 80,000. No discounts. You can put a tax rate if you want to. I think it's like 7.25. It could be more. Let's say a 13% interest rate because you got fleeced, and then we're paying 64 payments and then no balloon periods. So all this is doing is just trying to get gauge the total cost of the purchased that or the purchase that you made, and then we're going to try to see how much or how much time it would take to get your money back for it. So um, I want to make our money back in 5 years, and then we use this crew truck. Let's just say 500 hours a year. Now, this number, you guys would obviously know what this is. I'm just kind of putting some information here to get us some numbers. But the idea would be that we would be able to make back this $119,000 in 5 years, only being able to use it at 500 hours a year based on the rate that it is going to provide here. So if we were to charge at least $47.76 for it an hour, we would be able to make our money back. And that's where you would get your bare bones rate. So let's say it's 750 or something. Obviously, the rate goes down because we're adding more hours that we're using it. We don't have to charge as much. So that is something that you could do if you wanted to. And then you also you can hit OK here and it doesn't load that rate in. It just kind of gives you an idea. You can look at it and be like, okay, I know I need to at least be making 31.84 on this. We're making $32. So I mean, theoretically, this would still be losing you money because we're taking into consideration fuel. So if we would want that, we would need to load that into the new rate, and it would just make this number 31.84, if that makes sense. Once you click that, it would load it right in there. I'm just going to hit cancel and then say that I do not want to save that. Any questions on that specific kind of functionality in the program? Okay, doesn't seem like there's any questions, and even if some questions come up, we can circle back at the end. So let's just kind of keep on track. So the next thing that might come up is going to be fuel costs. Fuel costs kind of fluctuate. I mean, if you're just talking about regular gas daily, right? So, I don't know if you guys have contracts or things like that where you get like a steady amount, but if you needed to update your fuel costs, this would be how you would do it. So you would go to, firstly, you don't even need to be in your equipment tables, but I was going to show you specifically how it kind of affects. So right now it says that we're paying $6 for diesel, right? So let's go ahead and change that. So we go to our defaults here, and we go to equipment defaults, and then fuel/oil default costs by area. Okay, now this is going to be the ability to track the fuel that you buy wherever you're going. So if you're doing a job in Mississippi versus California, obviously your rates are going to be higher in California than they would be in Mississippi, and so forth. So with this, we had our what are we at? We have I think our default set to 6. Yeah, so we have our default set to 6. So let's say that our standard bidding rate's diesel. We're going to change that to be, I don't know. Let's just say it's 5, maybe 5 even. And we don't have to actually say who the vendor is if you don't want to, but you can assign a vendor. Now, what we would need to do is push this to our tables. So it would update the number inside the tables, right? So in this screen with it open, now that we've updated this, we would need to go to the top, hit actions, oops, sorry, and then hit update equipment table fuel/oil costs. Okay, so you hit that icon, and then it's going to ask, do you want to do it for all areas? Do you want to do it just for bid, or do you want to do it only for the diesel in the bid? Which is this specific line that I'm highlighting. So it gives you a couple different options, but I'm just going to do the top one because I only want it to update the diesel price for this area. So I would hit OK. And then now that that's been pushed through, if I double click in on here, the fuel rate should have changed from 6 like it is before to 5. So if you already have this crew truck in a job, and now that you've updated this fuel cost, maybe the next step would be to update the actual job that you're in currently. All right. And the way to do that is you actually have two ways, and I'll show you guys both. So the first way is going to be by closing that window and being inside the equipment table. You would go up to Actions at the top and then go to Update Equipment Rates throughout Active Job. So what that's going to do is that's going to push all of your newly updated rates, including your fuel, anything like that, from your tables into your job. Now, it asks specifically, are you talking about only Crew Truck 2? Are you talking about every piece of equipment that's in your job? So then, of course, you can choose. I want it to be all, or I want it to be this specific one because that's what I have highlighted. I'm just going to say all, and then you hit OK. And then that just looks at your tables, looks at the areas that are in your job, and then pushes that information through. So if we would go, back to our job here, we don't have any hours assigned, but if I said it was there for half a day, it would have the updated cost. Okay. And the second way to do it is once you're inside your job, actually, you could go up to utilities at the top and then go to refresh all detail costs from tables. So it's kind of the same thing, but in reverse. So instead of being in the specific table that you want to update and then hitting actions, you could be inside your job itself and then go to refresh. And then you can pick specifically instead of labor, you can pick equipment or you can mark them all. If you want to update absolutely everything to this job, you could do that. Or, you can pick and choose. If you want it to be equipment, if you want it to be trucking or other, then hit update costs. And then it's going to have a warning and say, are you sure this is going to change the price? Because you're updating it. So you would say yes. And then it would push that new price to your job. I will pause there for any questions in our Q&A section if you guys have any.
Looks like we did have one come through here, Jonathan.
All right. It will only update the current job or will it update all jobs? So both of those interactions will only update the job that you currently have activated. So if you're in your tables and you weren't in a job, you can look down here at the bottom, this little view bar right here. This shows which job you have active. So even if you're in your tables and we go to equipment and we hit actions and we update, it only updates throughout the active jobs. So it will not update older jobs. Which is a good question because a lot of people like to go back and kind of look at their older bids and see maybe what their equipment rates were from 5 or 10 years ago versus today. And you could see that. So a lot of people, what they would do would be essentially make a copy of an older job and then update the rates and then see, the price difference between the jobs as if you bid it today. So that's kind of a fun little exercise. So great question. Any others? Just pause for just a few seconds and then kind of move on to the next spot. Tony asked, it will update all jobs moving forward, correct? Yes. Yes. Once it's updated in the tables already, whenever you're pulling in information for a new job or even a job that you currently have bidding, it will use the most current up-to-date rates. So even if I didn't update, let's say, this bid item to be the new price, but I added another bid item, and then brought something in, it will be the new updated price because this takes it directly from tables. Yes. Okay. So the next thing that I wanted to cover really quick before we kind of hopped off would be to let's say update a equipment rate by an area and then kind of how to change that. So let's say we're not updating the bid rate anymore, but let's say I got a rental rate for my piece of equipment that I had in here, my crew truck 2. So instead of it being $20 an hour, we'll say that we're changing it to the DOT rate, which was, I think it was 31.78 or something like that for the equipment rate calculator that we did. So I'm going to actually just change it to that. So it's not as simple as updating the current area, but if you also needed to update a different one, right? Like if you're doing public works and they release their yearly thing and you need to change it from one to another, um, if you need to. So changing it from bid to DOT is going to up the price. So how do you do that? So once this is updated in your tables, you can close it, and then go back to your bid item here, and then look at the water pipe because I think we have a crew truck 2 in here. And then right now it is 1 day. Um, that's what we have our area set to. So we would need to change this area. So we would go to job information and settings, go to job default equipment areas, and then go to the DOT rate. And then you double click that you want DOT rate to be your default. And then you could unclick rental per day and then hit X. And then what this is going to do is it's going to update all of your equipment to that new rate. So we could do update all. And then it's going to say if you don't have rates for all of your equipment at the DOT rate, it's not going to set them to 0, so it'll just keep them to whatever you had at last. So we just go okay there. So it would just change the crew truck 2 to the DOT rate, which upped its price, and everything else would stay at whatever price that they had or whatever area that had a price. But that's how you can change equipment areas in a job. Alrighty. Well, I will open us up to any, just kind of generalized questions for now. That was pretty much all of the learning topic that I had for today for our equipment. If you guys have any general questions that you would like to, shoot my way, please feel free to use the Q&A section. Um, so I'll give you guys, a minute or so to get these questions in, and then we'll kind of start rolling with them. And if not, then you guys have a wonderful day, and then I will send it to Dylan after a brief pause. So just for clarification, Tony, are you talking about like a cost code, like assigning a cost code for accounting? I think I think that's what you're talking about. So I can go over assigning that. Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, so inside your bid item window, you can, you know, highlight over it, and I believe I am sharing. Okay, perfect. Just making sure I wasn't not sharing again. So you can highlight a specific bid item and then go to your actions and then go to item cost codes here. And then you can go really in detail with it if you want to use specific material, labor, and equipment codes, or you can do overall cost codes. I don't have any cost codes specifically in here, but if I had it for like, let's say, 01, and this is mobilization or whatever it would be, mobilization, you could assign it as the overall cost code here and then hit OK. And then now this would be assigned to mobilization. So it wouldn't be mobilization, obviously, it would be like a water item or something to that effect. But that would be how you could assign the individual bid items. Now you can assign them en masse with going over here to the job tab. Then you could go to assign cost codes. So if you have a bunch of bid items over here, you could open up your group, and then what you would do is essentially go to your item cost codes, and if we have 02, and it would be water items. You could have multiple here, so you can select that we want mobilization, we want water items, and it loads them in, and then you can click and drag them over here and assign it. I mean, it doesn't really make that much of a difference either way, but now you have them assigned, these two to the overall cost code of water items. I do believe so. You can run the reports in here, report tree. There should be a cost code. Dylan, remind me, there's one that groups it by cost code, right? In a report. Trying to see here
Yeah,
where
there
it would
should be.
be. Cost code details. There we go. Okay. All right. Well, this one I only have one specific. It's just water that I sent to water pipe. But this would basically show you what bid item is assigned to what specific uh, cost code that you have, and its total cost, and its man hours. But yeah, it's cost code details. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, sorry, Dylan, to interrupt, but I just wanted to go ahead and take care of that question for Tony. Um, go ahead. You can.
No, that's perfectly fine. I think I went over everything I needed to go over as well. So I'll reiterate, we hope everybody has a great weekend, and good business to everybody. And thanks for coming out.